Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to Paranormal Axetivities with your host, Ben Axe. I know it's been a minute since I've been around, guys, but hey, I appreciate you all listening so much. And again, this episode of Paranormal Axetivities is brought to you by The Buzz. You can check all of the excellent shows out over at WTBdotcom, whether it be Paranormal Axetivities, whether it be regularly scheduled hostilities, whether it be the Shit Show Girls, and there are so many other podcasts, other written articles to read, and of other audio podcasts to listen to. So be sure to check us all out over at WTBdotcom. All right, guys. Today's episode is going to be all about paranormal evidence. I know it's been a minute since I've done an episode, and I have quite a bit of activities of the week to go over. And after that, we'll be hitting up some paranormal evidence. You know, over the last almost a year that I've been doing this, I've got a few things to listen to or to show you guys. If you've been listening to me from day one, you've already probably heard them. I do have some of these audios listed on my TikTok account, so be sure to check that out. And today, I just thought it'd be a good time to go over all of that. You know, I don't have any guests lined up today. I just kind of want to talk to you guys one-on-one and kind of go over the evidence of the paranormal. And, you know, I say evidence. It's evidence in this universe is hard to get. It's hard to believe, and it's hard to not try to dispute it some way, which is good. You know, with any kind of evidence, whether it be a court case or whether it be, you know, law enforcement or whatever, you have to rebuttal all of the facts that could make it not true evidence. And you know, it's no different here, and even more so here because there is so much bullshit out there. You know, that picture of Nessie, the Loch Ness Monster, is probably nonsense. The Bigfoot picture is probably nonsense, but I do have a Bigfoot story for you here in just a little bit. And you know, I say evidence. I kind of disputed when to do this Bigfoot story, but I feel like visual encounters is a good enough evidence as audio signals are, if that makes sense. But we'll get there. But yeah, so here, after I tell you all of my activities of the week, I'll be sharing with you my audios I've collected. And again, if you guys want to show, if you have any, I guess EMFs is what they're called. If you have any EMFs for me, I'd love you to send them my way at paranormalaxepodcast@gmail.com. I would love to get those. All right, guys, let's get started here. So again, I have several instances here that could be paranormal, could not be paranormal, but I have them all written down here in front of me because it's just been a lot. So a while back, I did an episode about paranormal dreams. And, you know, I mentioned the Shit Show Girls. I say the Shit Show Girls. The podcast is called A Shit Show, a True Crime Podcast. So I was talking to one of them the other day, and she was telling me about some weird, possibly haunted dreams that she had. And it just so happened that 2 weeks before that, or a week before that, I had a couple of my own. So last week, I had a dream. And I know I've talked about sleep paralysis in the past. And because of my experience with sleep paralysis, I can kind of know the difference between sleep paralysis and not sleep paralysis. And in this dream, I was definitely dreaming. I was not awake. I didn't feel like I could hear and see in real time. I was in a paralysis state. I was just dreaming. And in this dream, I woke up, and next to my bed was I want to say like an older teenage boy or a young, like 20-year-old guy. I don't really know how old, but there was a guy standing there. I could see through him, very stereotypical ghost image or whatever. But in this dream, I couldn't get up. And in this dream, I knew he was there for me to follow him. I know I sound kind of crazy now, but I was saying, help me, because I can't get up. I'm in a paralysis state, right? And so I remember looking at him. He was wearing a red shirt and black pants, and he was staring at me with his hand out like this. And I was like, I can't move. I need you to help me. I just kept saying, help me over and over again. And again, I wasn't in a sleep paralysis state. It wasn't like there was a ghost standing by my bed and I couldn't move. It was definitely in a dream state. And that's pretty much it. And then I woke up and I was like, whoa, that was weird. I still remember his face, a white dude, red shirt, black pants, could see through him. And, you know, could it be a dream? Absolutely. But it's been a while since I've had any kind of crazy dreams like that. So I thought that was unique. But we're not done, because the next night I had another very, very weird dream. And in this dream, I actually was a ghost. So the dream starts, I'm in like a outside bar with a bunch of people, two of which I'm friends with in real life. Like we text group chat all the time. And we're kind of sitting around, and like I say, we're dead. And they're like, yeah, that sucks. I'm like, yeah. Like, so like in the dream, I knew I was dead. We knew that we were all dead. We knew that we weren't alive anymore. I guess that's another way of saying dead. And that we were ghosts. And like we acknowledged, but one thing we couldn't do was remember how we died. It's like I knew I was dead, but I couldn't remember how I died. It's like, what? And then so we were like, yeah, it sucks, but hey, at least we're still like hanging out. I'm like, yeah, that's good, I guess, but like it sucks. Then I remember thinking, I want to go see my mom. And so the rules were in this dream that we could leave, like wherever that bar was at, we could leave that bar. Like I guess that bar, I want to say, so like all the other people around us too were also ghosts. So like a purgatory or like a place that you go to when you first die. I don't know what you call that, but you know, that's where we were at. And then I could start walking. And when I started walking, so it was like on Earth or in America or wherever, it was somewhere. But I knew, then I started thinking, I want to go see my mom. She lives in St. Mary's. I can't use a car, so it's going to take a while to get there. So in this dream, you could travel as a ghost, but you couldn't like teleport or go through phone wires or go through electrical wires. It was you have to walk wherever you're going. And I thought that was interesting. And a few other things happened in that dream that was kind of crazy. But yeah, basically I dreamt that I was a ghost, and the dream lasted for a while. And I did end up walking, and I found some shenanigans along the way. That could be a movie, in my opinion, how crazy and vivid it was. But yeah, so maybe it's just a crazy dream, and I need to take a vacation from this podcast and other ghostly, scary things that I'm involved in. Or maybe there's something to it. You know, maybe I'm always talking about the rules of a ghost or a spirit and how they travel, why they don't travel, that kind of stuff. Maybe there's something to the fact that it isn't as easy to travel as we might think it is as a paranormal entity. I don't know. It was wild. But that's where the dream stuff ends right there. And now we're going to go on to weird things over the past week. So we'll just start at the beginning here. Super Bowl Sunday, I went to my buddy's house about an hour away from where I live. And I got home probably around 10 o'clock is when I got home. Didn't finish the game because I'm not really a sports guy. But so I come upstairs and I notice that my PlayStation's on. Like I walk through the hallway, and in the room where I play PlayStation, my controller's on. And I was like, huh. I was like, honey, why is my PlayStation on? She's like, I was going to ask you that. Like, it's been on. I noticed it like an hour ago when it was on. Like, well, I haven't been in there all day. I was gone all day. Why is it turned on? And I'm thinking, well, maybe my cat walked in there and happened to walk across the controller and turn it on. Very possible, right? What's interesting, for any of you that owns a PlayStation 4, mine is on a 2-hour timer. So after 2 hours of inactivity, that PlayStation will turn off and be put in sleep mode. It's been like that since I bought the thing years ago. And even if I'm sitting there watching a movie, 2 hours in, it pops up saying, we'll turn off in 10 minutes due to inactivity unless you press a button. Okay. Well, maybe it turned on right at 2 hours ago. Maybe it turned on at 8 o'clock and it was almost in sleep mode, but I just happened to come home right before that happened, right? Well, here's another thing. The controller, their wireless controllers, they will turn off after 10 minutes of inactivity. That's how I've always had them set up. And if I'm watching a movie, 10 minutes in, that controller turns itself off. That's how it's always been. And that's the setting that it's on. And I checked just to be sure that maybe it didn't get messed up. It was still on the 10-minute inactivity. However, at least 2 hours it was noticed on, it was still on. And it just doesn't do that. I know it sounds kind of like, well, that's just not the case. That's not a ghost thing. I understand that mindset, but it's never not turned off before after 10 minutes of inactivity, the controller that is. So why was it on for at least 2 hours when I wasn't home and she wasn't using it? And, you know, and at the same time, I did feel like a weird presence in the house, but that's kind of a cheap plug, I guess. So I'm not going to go into that. But the fact that the controller and PlayStation stayed on for that long without being used, it's just not supposed to happen, you know? And so I thought that was very strange. But I was like, well, Shit happens. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But so a few days after that, it snowed. I think that was Super Bowl was on Sunday. I think it snowed here on Tuesday. Okay. So Thursday, I think it snowed again on Wednesday. That's what happened. So it snowed again on Wednesday. I did not shovel Wednesday night. I got home. No, I'm sorry. It was Thursday. I didn't shovel because it was RS. Yeah, I didn't have time to shovel. So Thursday night, it had snowed Wednesday. I did not shovel. And there were footprints in the snow. Hold on. Let me make sure I got my shit together here. It was Wednesday. So late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, I had not shoveled the sidewalk at all as it had snowed after I got home. So the sidewalk was covered in snow. And I have video cameras outside. And I woke up in the middle of the night. I was awake from about 1 a.m. to about 3:30 a.m. I just woke up and got back to sleep. And so right around 2 o'clock, I put up my monitors on my phone just to see. Every once in a while, I get a little paranoid and I check the cameras. And I checked the cameras, and there were footprints on my sidewalk. Just one set. I could see footprints, like somebody had walked up or walked away. I can't tell which direction, but only one. It wasn't somebody walked up and then walked back, because that would be 2 footprints. Yeah, so just one set. And I was like, that's weird. And my cameras are also motion detected as well, so I can see when there's activity. So I went back and went back and went back until the footprints were no longer there. I just watched it in real time, thinking I would see somebody walk up. Nope. What I saw was the footprints slowly appear, and then that was it. And I'm going to post that video on social media as well. So be on the lookout for that. I haven't done it yet, but be on the lookout for that here this weekend. Yeah, like they literally just appeared. I watched them in real time, from no footprints to footprints. Disappeared, or appeared. I mean, it was nuts. And I didn't shovel it at all. And then, the next day the snow melted because it got a little bit warmer outside when the sun came out. But yeah, I thought that was pretty wild. And I was watching that right around, 2 a.m., just watching these footprints appear. It's like, I don't understand that. I can't really, well, maybe it was windy, in that blue snow, but they looked just like footprints. So how would the wind do that in perfect walking form? You know what I mean? So I don't know, but we're not done yet. So now it gets kind of weird with electronics. So the other day, I forgot to look up the song, but the other day I was driving home from work. This would have been yesterday, actually. Yesterday I was driving home from work, and as I'm driving, I'm listening to Eminem, and I use Amazon Music for my music in the car. And I said, Alexa, play Eminem, The Recovery album. And typically it plays that album. And I listen to it quite a bit here lately. I've been listening to a lot of Eminem and Metallica for some reason, like the older stuff. And so Alexa said, playing Eminem, The Recovery album. Cool. And then this one song kept playing. I forgot to write it down when I popped up here. But the wind blows cold as... No, hold on. Give me 1 second. I'll probably edit this part out. But... So the song that started playing out of nowhere was Talking to Myself. And if you guys know, that is the second song on this album. And the first song is called Cold Wind Blows. Okay. And typically when I say Alexa, play this album, it will start the album from the beginning to the end, right? That's how that works. We all know this. So I said, Alexa, play the Recovery album by Eminem. Alexa said, playing Recovery by Eminem. And then the song Talking to Myself started playing. And I thought to myself, that's I don't think that was the first song, but maybe I'm misremembering. So whatever. And it so happened to be that song was in my head all day too. Like I get songs like in my head on a repeat, and I sing them all day. And it happened to be a song that was in my head yesterday. And so I was like, that's weird. I listened by half of it and I got bored and I hit next. And then the song Talking to Myself started playing again. And I'm just now realizing that the song is called Talking to Myself, and it's just over and over playing in my head again. So I'm just kind of putting that together here. But so then the song started playing again. I'm like, what the fuck? So then I hit next again, and the song just kept playing repeat. The song Talking to Myself kept playing in repeat after Alexa said playing the Recovery album. So then I pulled it up and it said Recovery album. Like, what is going on? So then I just shut my phone off, and then I pulled it back up and said, Alexa, play Recovery. And then it played from the Cold Wind Blows. I was like, this was a weird glitch. You know what I mean? And even if I do listen to a song, like a song, if I would have said talking to myself, it would have played that song. And then after that song was over, it'll go into a shuffle just of random whatever. And this just kept playing itself over and over again. And I was like, that's just crazy. Like, it made no sense to me. It's never done it before. So I don't know what that was about. And then going off on that same subject with weird electronic glitches, today I was shaving. And when I shave, I listen to music. I have a little Bluetooth speaker that actually is. It's a Boom or whatever, Wonder Boom. And as I was playing it, a song was playing. And then a weird ad started playing behind it. And it was just like white noise. It was like a weird sound. Then I heard some kind of ad, like a sponsor lady talking about something. I don't know what the product was. And then I heard the white noise again. And then the same words, the same sponsor ad. So then I turned off the song, and that ad kept playing. White noise, ad, white noise, ad. I'm like, what the fuck? And at this same time, Danae walked by. So I opened the door. I'm like, listen to this. And she's like, what? I'm like, do you hear this shit? And the speaker was just playing weird white noise, ad, white noise, ad, white noise. I'm like, what is going on? And she's like, we obviously have something playing on the background of your phone. I'm like, I don't. I literally only had Amazon. So I closed every app on my phone. Social media, I went through and made sure there was nothing open, and my phone showed everything closed. And on that Bluetooth speaker, it was still coming through. So then I disconnect my Bluetooth. And then on my phone, that same shit was coming through. But there was nothing playing on my phone. Again, I've had this phone for a while, and it's never done that before. So then I just restarted my phone, and everything went back to normal. That was strange. And then one last thing on Wednesday night. Earlier, I kept saying Wednesday. I wasn't sure. But so it would have been the same time that it was the same night that I saw those footprints. I was laying in bed, and I heard my cat. So I assumed at the time it was my cat. We have two cats. One was accounted for in bed with us. The other one, no, so far hasn't really laid with us at night. So I assumed it was her because she'll walk around all hours of the night. Well, I heard her sneeze in the hallway. And I swear to God, after I heard her sneeze, I heard somebody say, "Bless you." Like that. Distinct whisper, "Bless you." I'm like, what the fuck? And I didn't investigate the house. I decided to not deal with that because I am always afraid of home invasions. That's where my brain goes to, is like home invasions and that kind of stuff. And generally I would explore it, but I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna get with that tonight. But I promise you, I heard somebody say "bless you" when my cat sneezed when I was awake between the hours of 1 and 3:30 the other night. And that was the same night that I saw those footprints in the snow. So I don't know. I have seen no signs of a home invasion, and I have since searched my house. I searched my house the next morning when I got up before work, and I didn't see anybody. So I don't know, man. It's been a weird last couple of weeks, and it's been nothing crazy, just a lot of little stuff that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And so I think tonight I'm going to go ahead and do a deep cleansing and go from there. I don't know. But all right, guys, that's going to be enough of my Axetivities of the week. And now let's get into some paranormal evidence. But before I do that, I do want to go ahead and read this Bigfoot story. And I'm only reading it because I was trying to save it for like a Bigfoot episode like I did with UFOs. But you guys aren't sending me your Bigfoot stories. So if you want a Bigfoot episode, please send me your stories at paranormalaxpodcast@gmail.com, or hit me up on any of my social medias, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I'm not super active these days, but I still see everything. So if you send me a message, I will see it probably pretty quickly. So send me all of your Bigfoot stories. Or if you want to be on the show and be interviewed about any experiences that you've had, I would like that even more. So please send me a message on all my social medias, or again, paranormalaxpodcast@gmail.com. All right, so this Bigfoot story was sent to me actually by another The Buzz person. She is a writer for the website. She writes all kinds of amazing articles. So go to whatthebuzz.com and check out all of her articles. But her name is Shilo. And Shilo has seen Bigfoot. So instead of me reading it and then like telling you the synopsis, I'm just going to read it to you guys word for word. I'm not the best reader, so bear with me. I'm not a storyteller podcast by any means. But yeah, so this is Shilo from whatthebuzz.com's Bigfoot story. So first, let me say that I grew up in the mountains of southwest Pennsylvania. I spent all of my spare time playing in the woods. I know what a bear looks like. I've seen a bear up close, not to mention we only have black bears where I'm from, and what I saw was not a black bear. So I was young, probably about 4 or 5. I was at the park playing with my older brothers and needed to use the bathroom. When I went to the bathroom, it was locked, so I decided to use the outhouse at the back of the park at the edge of the woods. When I got to the outhouse, the door was locked. There was also a horrible stench, which I had never noticed before near the outhouse. Since it was locked, I decided to go behind it and just squat in the woods. When I walked around the corner of the outhouse, there it was, towering over me. At the time, I thought it must have been 10 feet tall, but more likely it was only about 7 or 8 feet. It was covered in brown, thick fur and had an almost human face. I was frozen and it just stood there, staring at me. After what seemed like an eternity, I screamed. It turned and ran, and so did I. I looked back to make sure it wasn't chasing me, and I saw it effortlessly running through the woods in an upright position, leaving a path of broken branches in its way. I was petrified. I ran to where my brothers were playing and told them what I saw. They just laughed at me. I told them I was leaving and took off running to my Gram's house. I was running so fast that they could not catch me. Later that day, I told my dad. He didn't laugh. He asked where I saw it and what it looked like. I told him everything I could remember, which wasn't much, and he wanted me to show him exactly where I had seen the creature. We walked to the park, and I showed him exactly where I had the encounter. My dad could see the pathway that the creature left as it ran through the woods. He followed the path for a short time and said that something very large had definitely run through there. When he came back, he told me that it was gone. He told me to be careful playing in the woods. He had never told me that before. I wonder now if maybe he believed me. I wonder now if he has seen the creature too. That is Shilo from WTBdotcom's Bigfoot story. And there's a few things in that story that I really, really kind of gravitated towards, or it really caught my attention. One was the stench. I've heard a lot of Bigfoot stories over the past year or so, and a lot of the ones, even especially the ones that I think are more realistic than others, the one common thing is the stench. They can be smelled from a very long distance, and it's a very thick, noticeable stench. And then also, and the stories that I believe, which this one is definitely included in, Bigfoot is never an aggressor. And the stories that I believe he would run. And there's one in particular that even a dog went after him, and the people heard the dog get thrown into the water, and the dog was fine. He swam back to shore, and the Bigfoot thing was gone. And so the fact that, there's a few boxes that need to be checked for me to believe it. And this story hits all of those boxes. So Shilo, thank you so much for that Bigfoot story, and it kind of gives me the creeps. I like the mountains. I've been to Southwest Pennsylvania, and I would love to have a similar encounter. I'm not sure if you'd want to have another encounter like that, but excellent story. And with that, you can't really, other than pictures, it'd be hard to document something like that because he's there and he's gone. You can't really get good evidence of something that's that aware and that's that fast, other than broken trees and a broken pathway. But yeah, so I was never one to believe in Bigfoot a year ago. But this past year, I'm telling you, I'm starting to come around. And I'm going to go on a camping trip this this July in Minnesota, and I will be looking for some Bigfoots. But all right, guys, so Paranormal Evidence. Again, I started this show back in, when was it, March, or was it like late March of last year, 2020 is when I started this show, right when COVID kind of took off. And in that time, I have 3 distinct audios that I cannot explain. I think this is my 40th something episode, and I have 3 very short clips of stuff that I cannot explain. So these audio clips are on my social media at TikTok, and I'm sure they're on my Facebook as well, and probably my Twitter as well. But, it's been a minute. I just put them on TikTok recently, so in my brain. So let's get started. This one's probably my favorite one. It is the most distinct one, and I remember it very, very well. It was episode 4. I even titled it "Knocking on My Wall." And I was recording episode 4 in my garage at the time. Now I've upgraded to my upstairs office. But yeah, so I was sitting there rambling on about the Moonville Tunnel, and I heard a banging on my wall. And this wall would have been, the other side of this wall was the laundry room. Danae was asleep on the couch. And as I'm sitting there, I hear, so I stop talking and I look over to where that knock came from, and then I hear it again. And so I'm just going to play it for you guys here, and then we'll kind of break it down. Like, it was cool to be there. It wasn't an issue. Holy crap. All right, guys, I'm going to turn it up just a little bit, and we'll play it again here for you. Like, it was cool to be there. It wasn't an issue. Holy crap. So I know it's kind of light. I'm going to do it one more time here. So just listen for the knocks. Like, it was cool to be there. It wasn't an issue. Holy crap. Yeah. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot. It's just knocking, right? But again, I was sitting there in my garage talking about ghost stuff, and it happened twice in a row, 3 knocks each time. It wasn't Danae. She said it wasn't her. She said she also heard the knocking while she was on the couch. Like, she was napping, but she was awake at this point, and she heard him, and she thought it was me. And I kind of assumed it might have been her. Wasn't the case. And we do have a neighbor, but he obviously doesn't have access to the laundry room. So I don't know. It was weird. I never did figure out a source to that. I did recreate it. And recreate it is, I just knocked on the other side of the wall that it came from, and it sounded just like that. And it was very distinct. Still don't know. I went another podcast. I went on the Ghosts in the Night podcast and talked about it there. And it's just no explanation. It hasn't happened that distinctly since. I know I've had several paranormal activities of the week since then, but nothing that distinct has happened. So I don't know what was special that Sunday afternoon, but it was pretty wild. But all right, guys, so here's another audio clip. And actually, this audio clip was not on my podcast, but it was from a paranormal investigation I did at the Evening Leader that I did do an episode about, actually. So it was already on my show, but didn't happen while I was recording an actual podcast episode. But yeah, so basically, I'm just using a spirit box, talking to a person that we communicated with. And I asked a question, and here's the answer here's what I heard listening back. All right, did you hear that? I know it's kind of, the spirit box is just basically white noise, so you hear that. So I'm going to play it a few more times for you. All right, and what I heard there is be nice. I heard be nice, Ben, or be nice to me, is what I determined the last one was. At first, I remember I thought it was Ben very distinctly, but listening back, I kind of cleaned it up, and I'm really not sure. But it sounds like be nice to me. I'm going to flip one more time here for you. Yeah, so I don't know, but that was from the basement of the Evening Leader in St. Mary's, Ohio, and we actually had a lot from that area, from that spirit box session, but that was just one that really stuck with me, and I think it's pretty distinct. One more time. All right, guys, and then I have one more here for you. This was from the episode I did with the Over the Road Paranormal Investigation team. I met them on Twitter, and he was on my episode. It was a really good episode. I recommend go back and listening to it. And OTR Paranormal, you can find them on Twitter as well. I think I already said Twitter, but so I went back and listened to his episode as I was kind of editing and getting ready to upload, and I just heard this weird sound. I sent it to him as well. We don't really know what it was, but check it out. So listen to the background here. To me, it sounds like a goat or a sheep, or I don't really know, but one more time or a few more times here, probably. It's like a horn. I don't really know. Or I would say it could possibly be a cat. But again, at this time, I was recording in my garage, and my cat wasn't in the garage with me. At this time, we had one cat, and she definitely wasn't in the garage with me. So one more time. Yeah. So I'm not sure what that noise came from. He was in his truck cab. I don't know. I've never heard that sound again on any recordings that I've done since or before. And I go back and listen to all of the episodes. Sometimes not right away, but I generally do. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty much all I have so far when it comes to paranormal evidence. I'm going to go ahead and post the video of the footprints on my social media. So check that out if I can find a way to. I'm sure I can save it on my computer. I don't really know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so be sure to look out for that. You can find all of these audios that I showed you guys tonight on my TikTok page. You go check them out there. Leave me comments. And that's going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Paranormal Axetivities. All right, guys. So be sure to go to WTBdotcom. Check out all of the awesome shows and awesome articles. You know, Shilo, big shout out for her and her Bigfoot story. Yeah, so hope you all enjoyed it. You guys lined up here going forward, a couple haunted houses and stuff like that. So if you want to be on the show, I'd love to have you on, interview you, talk about your stories. Because again, the whole goal here is to figure out how the paranormal side works. I no longer, I used to be kind of like a wanting skeptic or whatever, but I definitely believe I've had stories and incidents my entire life. So now it's not about figuring out if it's there, but it's about figuring out how it works, why they're there, why things are happening the way they do happen. So yeah, I'd love to have you on. Again, email me at paranormalaxpodcast@gmail.com. Follow me on all my social medias, Facebook, Twitter. You can support me on patreon.com if you so choose. I'd love to see you over there. I know I don't really do a whole lot. I need to be better with social media. I don't know what the deal is, guys. I'm not good at it. But I hope you all enjoyed the show. That's pretty much all. Stay safe. I know we have some snow coming here where I live. So if you guys are getting bad weather there, please stay safe. And I appreciate you guys so much for listening to the show. And let's just keep learning about the paranormal together.